Let's just get to see what this Kieleweke and also the debate on fake gold scam is all about. To hear from our panelists, allow me to introduce to you the Member of Parliament from Kitutu, Chache South. This is Richard Onyonka. Also, we have with us this morning Okongo Mogini, who is a senator for Nyamira. We are eagerly waiting for also Alice Wahome to join us this morning, and also David Ocheng, who is a Member of Parliament for Mugenya, to join us this morning. Jeremiah Kioni is away in Kisumu, as I've mentioned, is the chair of CAOC, and also Professor Nyang Nyongo is in Boston, so he cannot join us this morning, but we continue with the conversation nonetheless. Let's just begin with you. First of all, the turnaround from Richard Onyonka.
Yes.
Yeah, you are, I should say,
yes,
a very avid fan and supporter of Deputy President William Ruto. But lately we can see the change of tone. Lately we can see you actually making a turnaround on this. What is happening from your front?
Dibal, a clever person must be able to change his mind. I mean, the reality is that you look at the Kenyan politics, and anyway, who are our employers? Our employers are the voters at the village level, like my people are in Kisii. And if you find your people telling you, we are uncomfortable with what you are engaged in and who you are engaged in, naturally you have to do a rethink. And one of the reasons why my people have actually come in very strongly against me associating and even engaging myself with the Deputy President is because they tell me this. Here is a team in Jubilee which has been running the country for the last 6 years. The team in Jubilee which has been running the country for the last 6 years has basically overborrowed, they have actually overspent, and the money has been overstolen. My people are saying, we do not want you to be engaged with this outfit of an individual who has been in Jubilee, who has been working with President Uhuru. At least they know Uhuru is not running, and they know that Uhuru has been saying, let us fix this corruption issue. And the people in my constituency tell me they are uncomfortable and extremely angry that the Deputy President talks about corruption as if you can't point a finger and you can't do anything about it. And in fact, he is always having these alternative fact-checking where he tells Kenyans, no, we are now not talking about the money which has been stolen. What we are dealing with is, let's discuss about the gold. And when you look at the issue of the gold, no government lost, our government never lost any money. There's no public money which has been lost. In fact, who cares about that gold? But when money is stolen from the dams, when money is stolen from Galana Kulalu, when money is stolen from SGR, when money is stolen from every sector in this country, the Deputy President never talks about it in a day. He only comes to defend what has happened. He only comes and says, no. The amount of money that we've lost is actually 9 billion. It's not 19. And yet in the gold saga, we are being told it's 200 million. Nobody's interested in that kind of politics. Number two, in my constituency, my voters are very particular.
Yes.
That's why you notice they've carried me from one party, I leave, I go to another one. They never really care. They look at my development agenda, that's what they look at. But right now, they're very upset. Every single day, William Ruto is insulting Raila. And my people are saying, Raila is a mzee. Raila is a man that we recognize in this country. Raila is a man with all his weaknesses, because all human beings have those weaknesses, with all negatives which we may want to lay out on him. This man has been fighting for this country. This man has been jailed for 9 years as a detainee. This man started talking about corruption in Kenya 22 years ago. This man has been in and out of government because he believed you can change the system sometimes if you are within it. Then you turn around and every day you are on public TV and you're saying, this man is a con man, this guy is a crook. In fact, no. My people said, boss, if that is where you're going, then you are going alone. And so, and in Kisii we say, in Kisii these days, even though it's a modern colloquialism and modern thinking, people say, every vehicle has a reverse gear. So if you're driving and you realize mbele kuna shida, piga reverse, rudi, fanya detour, endelea na maisha yako. And that's what I exactly have done. My conscience is very clear.
So it's not really a fallout that we had within, or maybe with your relationship with the Deputy President?
No. Personally, I have high regard for him. I think he's a clever politician. I think he's young. I think he has got good ambitions.
But what prompted you in the first place to actually be in his camp and support him?
No, you see...
Because we want to see where you're coming from, and now you're changing the tone now that you say
I'll explain to you. I have a right, every politician has a right to make a decision who they can work with at any one time. It is true. And the working with is not that I was leaving my party, which is Fort Kenya, like Boni Halwale, and crossing over to Jubilee. No, I was just having a working relationship. That working relationship was simply because the number of times that the Deputy President was coming to Kisii, and particularly to my constituency, naturally as a member of parliament, you have to be there. Because the public will say, why have you run away when people come to do fundraisings? And you know, Kenyans are into this fundraising thing where when people come to raise money for a church, you've seen this issue, the conflict between church and state, the conflict between the politicians and the church, and you see what even what Kenyans are saying. They're saying we need to rethink our relationship politically with the role of the church and with the politicians. But the Deputy President used to come to my place. I've never had a very substantive and outstanding disagreement with him per se, other than the fact that I refused to go into Jubilee the last elections and I wasn't ready to join Jubilee. All I was saying is, let me find out what the relationship or engagement with this gentleman is going to be. And as I said, my employers just said, you need to get out of there.
Your employer?
Yes.
Who is your employer?
My voter. My voters are my employers.
Is it your voters that you saw maybe the way I'm heading, or the way I'm heading with this particular trajectory of actually pairing up with Deputy President, I might lose on the ground?
Absolutely.
So this is all about your political expediency as well?
Surely, Dibal, what is it about? First, it is public interest. Secondly, it's self-interest. Thirdly, it is, if it means I sustain, if I sustain myself for the next 10, 15 years as a politician, so be it. All these people you see who are political out here and who are running around. What is Kieleweke and Tangatanga about? People are just trying to survive.
Okay, so what do you think about his pronouncement that Odinga, as you've mentioned, he should not be using this particular, his office as the African Union High Representative for Infrastructure for illegal business? Reference, of course, to this particular fake gold.
I can tell you, my brother, I find...
And in light of the spirit of a handshake.
Dibal, I find that argument silly. I was in Kisii when Raila spoke. Raila was coming on official business from China. He arrived in Dubai. People looked for him. Raila, if you want to find him, if he's in Australia, you call him. Most likely somebody said, here is Matiang'i who's trying to say there's gold, blah, blah, blah. And Raila said, that's nonsense. That's not Matiang'i talking, and that issue of the gold is dubious. This fella who was brought in as being the person who actually was the owner of the gold, Raila spoke to him and said, whoever that you're dealing with, those are con men. How does that become an issue? Dibala, so many times people call me and said, oh, Mheshimiwa, somebody's telling me I give them 3,000 shillings, they have a check of CDF for 20,000, and they're telling me I need to talk to you so that you can allow them. I've had all that stuff coming in. As a public figure, we are constantly being bombarded with stories of conmanship, trickery, stories of wash, all those things, they come across us. I don't see how this matter becomes a Kenyan national public issue. Somebody is trying to bring it, I always say this, somebody is trying to bring up an alternative story about Raila, which doesn't exist. In other words, instead of us talking about corruption is a problem in Kenya, our country has overborrowed. The political elite and the leadership of Jubilee has not succeeded in fighting corruption. You have monies which have been lost. The Auditor General has said for the last 6 years, we've been losing close to 600 billion shillings every year. That is 3.3 trillion shillings a year. Instead of us saying, please our brothers, going to church and say, church, pray for us, we stop stealing your money. We are talking about, oh, there is money in Dubai. Raila went to Dubai. Why was he engaged with people in Dubai? This is a non-issue. There is no public money which was lost. These are in fact 2-3 individuals who are conning each other over gold which nobody knows about, which in fact may not even exist in Nairobi. Guys have been arrested, they're in court. Why are we not leaving this case to
All right,
proceed?
the public money might not be lost, yes, but we're talking about a character of leaders of this country as well, who in the long run they will want to be in the ballot box at the end of the day.
I will ask you.
So we cannot disassociate if maybe there is under under the table dealings, and as far as the issue of character is concerned, we cannot uncouple that from the entire saga.
I will ask you this: why don't you let the people who have been taken to court provide evidence and say what happened? Why are you actually? It's the sub judice issue. Why are you going to court? I mean, to a church and start talking about Raila was you where? Raila has not even been taken to court or anything. There are individuals over the same goal we are talking about. The case is in court. Why are you not talking about the guys who are in court? You know, this is the issue.
All right.
To me, this is a non-issue.
Okay, let's say from Okongo Mogini on this particular development as well. Good morning, good to see you.
Yes, morning, Debal. Of course, being a member of the NASA coalition, I'm happy and I welcome my brother Onyonka back to the fold of NASA. And I think, as he has rightly put it, it's only a fool who never changes his mind. A wise man always changes his mind.
So you've seen the light.
And I think he's a wise man, and he has seen the light early. And I think he's very honest, and we should say congrats to him, because he says he's felt the heartbeat of his people. He's felt the aspirations of his people. And you know, Debal, how I wish that throughout this country we would have a situation where Kenyans look at issues, political issues, from a base of looking at issues that define this country. And I think what Honorable Onyonka is saying is that his people have a question. They have some question marks on the integrity of the deputy president. Mm-hmm. You know, so for many years, Debal, in this country, our politics has been so ethnicized. I was in a church yesterday where, you know, the church was saying that if for once, Kenyans can forget about their tribes and look at our leaders, look at their track record, look at their integrity, and look at the issues that they place on the table. I agree with the Onyonka that how I wish the DP, as he goes around the country, we forget about abuses, because that's not the culture we want to pass to our people. Where I come from in Nyamira, by the way, people don't want you to go to rallies and start hurling abuses. It doesn't work. People want you to tell them, look, I'm your DP, your children who have gone to primary school, colleges, and there are so many from where we come from. They want to hear you are the government. What solution are you providing to these people? How soon are they going to get employment? We sold cows. We took loans to take these people to colleges. They don't want you to come there and start telling people about Muganga and whatever. I think that is some politics we should discourage. And I even get shocked that these things happen in churches, where you are in a church and people are hurling abuses against other people. And at the background, you see a church leader, maybe a pastor, looking helpless. I think that's not the right way to do things. And I think, you know, the Americans, I think the very first amendment they did was the freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, freedom of association. So Mheshimiwa Onyonka has a right, I think a constitutional right, to dump the DP and come back to NASA. So for me, I just want to welcome him on board, and I want to urge, you know, all of us as leaders, if you join somebody and your conscience does not agree with maybe the character of that person, ship out. I think Kenya is a multi-party democracy. We are spoiled for choices. There are so many parties. I think what we need now as Kenyans, Debal, and you people in the media can help us. Now, we want Kenyans to, you know, you write day in, day out about integrity of our leaders. Day in, day out. I mean, can we have an agenda where we are also putting a spotlight on our leaders? When you're talking about issues of lifestyle audit, let's start from the top, the way the president said, then it trickles down. If we have questions on people who want to take leadership, I think it's the Luos who say that the fish begins to rot from the head. It will never be right downwards if we have not fixed things at the top. Then finally, I think if I was to be an advisor to the president, this election is not about how much you abuse Raila. I think the elections that we are going to face in 2022 will be an issue-based campaign.
Yes.
I'm reading what the Kitutu team are saying here, and you can see the challenges being thrown his way. He's being asked, you tell us what you have done as this government, because you are elected jointly, you and the president, that should convince Kenyans that you deserve continuity. And I think that's what should bother the DP. Issues of unemployment. We were promised stadiums. If you go to Nyamira, my stadium has been under construction for the last 6 years. Yes. If you talk about healthcare, this mess equipment, if you go to an hospital in my county called Keroka, those medical equipments were dumped there. They have not worked for the last
mile project?
3 years. Last mile. Look at the irrigation project. We are losing 7 billion, nothing to show for it. The promises on corruption, you said you'll deal with corruption. Day in, day out, we are getting scandal after scandal. I mean, these are the things that we want you to face Kenyans and say, look, I was the deputy of my party leader, the President Uhuru Kenyatta. This is what we have delivered. I mean, you cannot, when you go to Kisii, what was planned on this railway network is that this railway network would go all the way and terminate in Busia. It was supposed to come from Naivasha, go through Narok, Bomet, pass through Nyamira in a town called Ikonge, then go to Kisumu. Right. If you tell us that you have terminated this railway in Naivasha, yes, do you think that you are going to convince us, people who come from Kisii, that you deserve a second term? Those are the issues we are going to put on the table. And I'm telling you, Debal, it's not about personalities, it's about issue-based, it's about improving lifestyles of our people, improving the economy of this country. Because for us from that region, Debal, we transport our tea to Mombasa through this road. It takes 24 hours. If that rail was to reach Ikonge, our tea, and we export this tea to Europe, to Far East countries. If that rail was to terminate, to have a stop at Ikonge, you have changed the livelihood of so many people. I mean, the kind of income they are going to get from tea farming will improve, because that will reduce the cost of transportation. Those are the issues we want the DP to address when it comes to Kisii.